the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't be scared. Just step up. Don't be scared. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just step up. Don't be scared.
Perhaps no surprise that it is South Melbourne and Oakley that occupy the first and second position on our table. Sawyer now whipping a ball in over the top of the Welshman, Alan Webb, and Manos collects.
Yeah, it's been sort of interesting enough opening few minutes. Both sides just feeling each other out, I feel, at the moment. The Knights did break well, actually, with that chance, which was given fractionally offside, wasn't it? But South do look composed and quite comfortable on the ball, and you know, it's shaping up well. The first goal in any game is always crucial, but it'd be great to get an early one here, wouldn't it?
Aidan Bryce collects that one. South are able to wrangle it in possession, and South come away with it. Ben Juba carrying the ball forward. Eventually finds Webb on the left flank. Irwin's waiting in the middle. Now Sawyer's down there as well, and Webb goes to ground, winning his side a free kick in a dangerous area.
Oh, that was a clumsy challenge, really, wasn't it, to give away a free kick at this early stage of the game in such a difficult position with Sawyer and his height. You'd imagine that they'll be looking for him to cause a bit of mayhem, either get his head on the end of it or some sort of second ball scrimmage, and who knows where it'll go when that happens.
Well, something to watch out for. South score a lot of their goals from set pieces. 43.6% of them, according to the Opta stat pack. It's no surprise, as Michael mentions, with bodies the size of Sawyer's in there. The ball is whipped in. Oh, touched onto the crossbar, it appeared in the end. Yes, corner kick. Manos coming up big.
Yeah, that was an excellent save. I mean, the ball didn't actually find the big guys, did it? It was just swept in for a shot from near the edge of the area. The keeper would have seen it late, and he did really well to get a hand on it and put it away for a corner. We'll get take two now.
A bit further out, another out swinging, left-footed cross comes in. Sawyer was waiting for that one, but couldn't make proper contact with the header, and Manos collects. And now potentially Albano can have a little joy running into space on the left. Round one, round two, held back. That should be coming back, surely. Yes, it is. Albano, danger player for the Knights. He is fourth in the Golden Boot race, 7th for the season.
Yeah, well, that was good feat he showed there. I mean, he was basically on his own against 3 or 4 opponents, and he's created at least a free kick where they can get the ball into the mix on the edge of the box.
Look at Golic to take for the Knights. 2 hands go up, big stretch. Whipped in. Only Knights, well, only South players, I should say, waiting for it. Iridakunda. Played around, and then the Knights will go even further back to Manos. Sawyer keeps him honest. Long ball forward. Bryce, who stayed up from his position at the back, and that's a good crossfield ball. Albano has a lot of time and space to pick out a man. In, diving header, grounding header. A goal from a header. It's the opening goal of the game. Mohamed Sumayoro. Healthy assist there for both Aiden Bryce, Angie and Albano. The pass right to left to sense it's a goal.
Yeah, it was all about the quality of the delivery from Aiden Bryce there. I mean, as you remarked just seconds before, or even nanoseconds, that he was staying up. He was still in a forward position, picked the ball up, great vision, picked that pass out, split the defence. The cross was into the dangerous area from Albano, and a fantastic header there from Samaro. Just showed a lot of bravery to get in there and amongst it, and 1-0. What can you say? We needed an early goal, we got one.
Indeed, South find themselves a goal down, an unfamiliar position. Coach Esteban Kids' side. Only conceded 14 all season. 15 now. As the Knights come again. Golic has his attempted cross blocked away, but that is enough to win a throw-in. Knights working it around there on their attacking right flank. Naught comes of it. Ooh. Not big fans of that decision. Was the Melbourne Knights dugout, led by Coach Steve Berbich. Chance for South to get bodies forward. They did come close to grabbing the opening goal of themselves just minutes before. Knights struck first through a couple of set pieces. Now working with the ball on the left flank. Webb trying to find an avenue in. Does well to eventually get somewhere. Irwin's meeting there. Sawyer can't make contact. Appeals for a handball. Waved away by our referee Lockie Kivas. Instead, Knights can try to regather themselves. And they're going to come away with it here now into the middle of the park. Runs have kept coming. Peels for a free kick, nothing given. Jankovic. In the end, does enough to win his side a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a very important time, I think, these next few minutes for the Knights. They've done well to take the lead against a table-topping team, and it's very important that they just shore things up, don't panic, stay tight, and just keep concentrated for the next 5 or 6 minutes, and then they can establish the pattern of the game with them leading.
Well, Webb now trying to prevent them from doing exactly that, trying to get in behind, went down heavily, still appealing for a penalty kick, none given. as Aidan Bryce carries the ball forward for the Melbourne Knights. Time and space to operate in the middle of the park for Giselle. Keeping the ball on the right flank. Pass was intended for Semakula's darting run forward, sent straight back, perhaps space on the left. I think that was a handball there, yep. Picked out by referee Lockie Keevers on Jack Marth. Young Jack Marth playing in the centre of defence in what is, well, he's been around the senior team for a number of years, but thanks to COVID, this is shaping as his first full season in the men's senior competition. Of course, Jack Marth, well, his last name at least, one that needs no introduction in Melbourne Knights circles.
No, Andrew Marth, very well
Stabber.
respected. Stabber, his nickname, of course. Very well loved and respected and regarded figure. During the time I was covering the Knights in the NSL, he was, of course, one of the key men, and went to Carlton then when Carlton were formed at the 97, 98 time. Stuart Munro coached him after Eddie Krenchevich, and I know that Stuart was very impressed with him, thought he had all the attributes and thought he could have had a career overseas, but he never did. I think he went to Dortmund for a trial or a brief period, but came back, you know. But football was a different game then. I suppose the money wasn't, well, it was good, but it wasn't astronomical like it is now.
As the Knights coming forward, trying to get something going. Zelic's touch let him down. Irwin tried to switch play across to Webb, but then Aidan Bryce finished the pass for him in the end. Langlar looking for Sawyer. Sliding challenge coming in from Semakula. You won't find too many bigger height differentials than Trevor Semakula and Harrison Sawyer in this league.
No, it's the little and large show there, but Semakula did really well because that was a poor ball from Aidan Bryce. We singing his praises for creating a goal, but a very sloppy delivery there, which could have played his team into trouble. But Semakula did well to stretch and get it away and put it into touch.
I've got Jankovic trying to carry the ball out, but South turn the ball over again. Just not fluid and retaining possession in there and take South Melbourne. They are a team that likes to hit you quickly. Hit you in the face and leave you wondering what had happened, but when you are chasing a game, and the general game dynamics would dictate that you have to force the initiative, not quite able to do that, so we'll see how they're able to deal with this one. Of course, a lot of time remaining as well. Long ball forward, Sawyer can't bring it down. Irakunda's set up Irwin there of his own accord. Couldn't have done it better if he was wearing blue, but Aidan Bryce getting across at the last to spare his defensive midfielder compatriot, now on the ball, blushes.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's emerging as a central figure, isn't he, Bryce, so early in the game. That was a wonderful bit of retrieval defensive work because his teammate had really put the team in trouble with a hospital pass back, and South really should have perhaps made more of that.
Marzi plays it forward for Sawyer, coming back. I believe it was the big man retreating from an offside position. As mentioned, Sawyer leads this team in goals with 11. Langlar follows on 6 with Webb on 5, and then a couple of players on 4 for the Knights. Albano, their leading goal scorer, with 7. Second is Anthony Frangi, who's not on the team sheet tonight, absent, because his brother's getting married in Sydney. So, team knew about that well in advance of signing him from Marconi. So, a permitted absence from the Knights attacker tonight.
Well, that's, I suppose, what you get. It's semi-pro football, isn't it? You can't expect blokes to miss out on major family events like that, especially if they're not full-time pros getting paid a fortune.
Irwin was letting that ball bounce around. Couldn't bring it under control before it went out for a Knights throw-in. Irwin has switched positions now with Alan Webb So Owen on the left, Webb on the right. That is Webb. Oh, this is a good ball forward. Sawyer is onto it. Manos is out. Poked forward by Harrison Sawyer, but it's going to flash just wide of the post.
Yeah, that was a lovely move put together actually by South Melbourne. First time crisp passing, and Sawyer just inches away there. Well, from our angle it looked like inches away anyhow, and probably deserved a bit more.
Well, Marcus Schroen was the man that played him through, a long-time figure at South. Has had all the tools, Marcus Schroen, across his career. I mean, he's not exactly old yet, but has been dogged by injury throughout his career. Was one of those key figures in South's run to the semi-finals of the then FFA Cup all those years ago. Night that ended with nearly 5,000 watching on as they were knocked out by Sydney FC in monsoonal conditions at Lakeside.
Yeah, I remember that game. It was absolutely lashing rain, wasn't it, that night? And a brave run by South. But, you know, the problem the NPL teams have when it gets to that stage of the FFA Cup is...
Australia Cup now.
The Australian Cup now, but they're kind of out of season, you know. They're sort of... the dice are loaded against them. So they've got to find a way to actually restructure that competition so that it is a level playing field. Because you can't sort of stack the odds so much in favour of the fully professional teams at the business end of the comp.
Michael Lynch absolutely knows his audience on NPL.tv.
Well, it's not a question of knowing my audience, it's just a question of being rational, isn't it? and fair-minded. But then where did rationality and fair-mindedness ever come to play in Australian soccer?
Schroen plays the ball forward as my co-commentator gets existential. And the ball rolls out of bounds, and it will be a Melbourne Knights goal kick.
I'd say philosophical rather than existential myself, but you know, we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Long ball out to the left flank, sent back. Sawyer nods it on, but Aiden Bryce waiting for it.
He's everywhere tonight already, isn't he, Aiden Bryce? He's a pivotal role here at the heart of the Knights' defence, and not only is he doing his defensive job, but he's played the pass of the game, hasn't he, to set the opening goal up.
Indeed, Bryce's pass, that's Paul challenge there, might produce the first slice of cheese for the game. Anthony Giselle, escapes with a warning for his challenge on Lira Malmazi, but you've got to imagine the next one will force Lockie Keevers into his pocket. Trying to just carry the ball forward was College, kept going. So going to get there on this occasion as Jankovic sends it back. South getting numbers forward. Wallen on the right flank coming up from the defence. Simakula sends it back, but Albano can't keep it in. Almazi dropping in between Jankovic and Marshall, giving them another option to pass, but comes to naught as Bryce, as Michael has mentioned, calling his name a lot as of late. Albano trying to cut inside, well marshalled. Josh Wallen on that occasion, laying the challenge. Formerly played with A United of Manchester, not Manchester United, but FC United of Manchester in green and gold.
Well, that was the old colours of the very first team. Was it Newton Heath or something? I'm not from Manchester, I'm from London. So, to be honest, the plague on all their houses from Manchester. But I do remember reading back in the old days, and I am old, but it was way before my time, they were playing in green and yellow.
Perhaps we should ask Josh Wallen for his thoughts on the Glazers at some point, but That ball can't find a teammate for the Knights as the South get rid of it. Alan Webb can't carry it down.
I was going to say the Glazers might not have done a lot for Manchester United, but Manchester United have done an awful lot for the Glazers.
Sawyer plays that ball across. It's sent back centrally. Maybe Langlois was in the vicinity. Couldn't get there. Semakula now against Alan Webb. First round, no honours were split. Second round, Semakula wins the battle, wins the throw-in. Giselle can't clear it with his first header, comes under pressure from Langlois. Eventually falls to a contest which results in Jankovic sending it all the way back to Lopez, who hasn't really had much to do aside from picking the ball out from his net.
Yeah, I was thinking that just now, actually. He hasn't a shot to save, has he? I mean, since the goal, I mean, it's really all been pretty much South Melbourne dictating the rhythm of play largely and manufacturing, you know, one or two sort of better than half chances, really. And if that one goes from Harrison goes just a little bit different trajectory, it's 1-1, but fair play to the Knights. They are digging in and they're holding on. It's like what we have we hold, isn't it?
The ball gets sent forward. College does enough to knock it on, but then Juba is waiting, booting it away. Sent in Sumayoro on the right flank, laying it off inside. Giselle rides the challenge, lets it run, and then we'll send it across to Albano. Can cut inside and shoot from here. Instead, he was looking for the touch line, and Wallen did enough to send it out. Throw in for the hosts. Deep on their attacking left flank, if you are just joining us. They lead 1-0. Sent in dangerously in the end. I think it did roll out eventually from Zelic's nice little spin and left-footed cross. That's a poor clearance. As the MCF fans in front of our commentary position give the old Bronx cheer. It'll return to the Knights.
Well, they're right. It was a poor clearance, and it's put their South Melbourne put themselves under pressure as a result.
Kunda plays it across to Bryce. Drive another pass across play. He's given Luca College a task, one that he's not going to be able to meet as it rolls out. Knights though, Kane attempts to box South in. Which looks like they've managed to do. Semakula brings it back to Marth. Jake Marth can look up, bit of pocket of space to advance into, and then put well too much mustard on that intended pass for Travis Semakula.
He's got to do better than that. It was just well over here and gave the forward player no real hope there.
Well, time for a goal kick, and as every player is getting into a little box in the midfield, it's going long. Wins the free kick, wants to take it quickly. Zelic not giving him that opportunity. Jankovic gets it going with a Webb. Let it down, like a Schroen. Instead, it's going to fall to Giselle. To Bryce. Zelic. Bryce falling over as he plays it forward, and that's going to enable Juba to intercept, but he in turn sends it straight back to the Knights here at Akunda. Oh, attempted back heel doesn't come off, and maybe it's something the South can use, but Sawyer's attempt to hold the play up instead turned it on. Neither side really want the ball at this point. Able to string together a series of passes as Albano's attempt to put the ball in is blocked away for a corner kick.
I think you're right there in that passage. Both sides giving the ball away, not enough fluency from either of them. It's a sort of game that South look as if they could get a goal any time, but they haven't had the cutting edge or the fluency in those forward areas, and the Knights do look dangerous enough on the break. Anyway, we'll see what comes of this corner now.
As the hang goes up, the ball goes in. As well waiting there, but the one that heads was found was Jake Marshall for South Melbourne. Danger not cleared, however. Fancy to the byline, cut back to the top of the box. There's nobody in a red shirt waiting. Marth eventually has a shot. Blocked away. Giselle from range. Blocked away again. Giselle, third time, wound up. Elmazi got in first. Simakula intercepts. Giselle trying to sneak it through. The Knights will retain possession, but will have to reset and come again. Ball down the right. Sumayoro swarmed. Jankovic comes away with it. Then left-footed effort. Up the park. Schroen gets it to Sawyer. The man in his back, the big lad. Eventually goes down, but it will be South ball.
There we go, though. Good to see the kids out here on the old stand, in front of the old stand here, just running around, kicking a ball, messing about on a Friday night, supporting their local team and their community. This is where the future of the game has to come from. Clubs and at A-League level and everywhere else have to nurture that sense of feeling and community that so many of these NPL teams do have.
Is that long throw in? It comes to the edge of the box, and good lord, that was another fine save from Tom Manos. I think Josh, was it? No, it was Alan Webb that had the final effort from the top of the box, and Manos again would have seen that very late.
Yeah, he did well. I mean, he spilled it, but he did well enough to react and get it at the second grab.
Wallen, centre of the park for Langlar. Look for Schroen. Aidan Bryce just comes through like a freight train. Carries the ball forward, but then pass not as good as his other one, picked out by Jeeba. And he's left perhaps a big hole at the back that South could look to exploit. Didn't get there.
I think he's,
oh, now yellow card comes out. I think that has gone to Aidan Bryce.
I think so. It did look like a bit of a, you know, over-the-top sort of lunge he made. I think he felt if he wasn't going to get the ball, he might leave something on his opponent there. And he gets the first yellow of the night, I think, isn't he?
It is. Steve Bebbage and his Knights contingent on the bench again. Not happy. South can get us going once more. Irwin gets it in somehow. Webb lobs it on. Well, he attempted to lob it on, but it went straight up in the air, and Manos collects. Ball forward. Sumayoro can't bring it down. South coach Esteban Gintes sends it back to Jeeba, and Jeeba in turn sends it back to Jankovic. Jankovic takes his man on. Puts the ball into the middle of the park for Schroen. Has to stretch to collect, but he gets there eventually. Goes down under the challenge from his opposite number 10, Albano. Price giving referee Lockie Keevers a piece of his mind. Now, well, we we know Marcus Schroen can hit the ball. If he was able to hit the ball from this far out, it would be a bit of a minor miracle. He's been joined by Harrison Sawyer. Four-man wall for the Knights. Schroen departs, and then Wallen comes across to give Sawyer departs, and Wallen runs across to give Schroen a bit of company. Josh Wallen, Marcus Schroen. Marcus Schroen going for goal. Schroen almost. Manos had to get across and poke it across the bar for a corner kick.
He's done well, hasn't he, the keeper, actually? I mean, he's been by far the busiest goalkeeper in this game. That's 2 or 3 he's tipped over the edge of the bar, and he got down low and saved that one at the second attempt a few moments ago, south of pressing. You think your goal's coming, don't you?
So another one gets whipped in. Back peg was met there by Marshall, but counted for something in a rugby match, but this is football.
Well, I said, you think a goal's coming? It's certainly not going to arrive with finishing like that, is it?
As the juniors you mentioned, Michael, maybe they've picked up that there might be a goal coming. They jog their way back across the quarry side of the field towards the scoreboard. Just update it manually over there, the venerable scoreboard. Sawyer plays up and around the corner for Webb. McCullough on the spot to nod it out of bounds for a South throw-in. To Wallen. Albano keeps him company. Selic really keyed in on the crossfield pass to Yankovic, so Marshall goes to Wallen instead. Selic doing well there, just denying South what they obviously wanted to do, to play the ball across their back four from right to left, making them earn it. College now has joined in the press as Almazi drops deep. Eventually the pass forward, Schroen's able to turn and face the right way. Wallen for Webb, players in the middle. Looking for the cut back to Schroen at the top of the box. That doesn't come off, and maybe, perhaps, transition is on. Albano directing traffic. College makes the run to his left. He cuts inside to the empty space. Gian Albano. Sumayoro tried to flick it on. Selic can't make a touch. South clear it away. Back to Bryce. Selic. Crossfield pass. It's just working the ball way around the periphery, trying to find an avenue through. Selic, the Croatian import. Well, not sure if that was intended as a 1-2 ball. College certainly thought it was.
That was a good passage of play there a minute or two ago. You know, Selic did ever so well. He was on his own, did all the pressing, held up South Melbourne, frustrated them. They then found a way to play their way through the press to get into a really good position. That was cut out. The Knights attacked again on the break. I mean, it was pretty good football all round. Okay, it didn't produce a shot on goal particularly or any real threatening movement, but you could see the kind of functionality and what these teams are trying to do in that sort of little vignette.
Selic, of course, in his first season in the NPL Men's Victoria competition, arriving from Croatia, spent much of his career with HNK Šibenik. And that ball played over the top. Look at College. Just to collect Sumayoro's in the middle, as is Albano. Most reminiscent of the Knights' first goal with a low cross in the direction of Sumayoro, but this time he can't direct it on goal.
Yeah, but it shows, you know, they're dangerous when they get these chances on the break. They're quick to take them on, and that's, you know, they've scored one, nearly another there. Okay, South Melbourne have kind of had the better of the game, but they're still one goal down, you know, and when you've got the one goal lead, you can always, you know, chance your arm a bit on the break, and that's really what the Knights are doing. Let's be honest, I mean, their keeper's been far the busier and he's made a number of good saves, but at the end of the day, it's really only the scoreboard that matters, isn't it?
There's Morton, sends this one in. Headed clear, Giselle's going to get there first. Webb for company. For Bryce, let the ball run. One way and then the other. Ball bouncing around, who wants it? So Mayora can't break that on the first time of asking, gets it on the second. Spins away from Jibber. And the Packs, as we've seen on a few times from the Knights, looking for a man working towards the byline. It's a heavy one and it rolls out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's unfortunate he did all the hard work there, actually. Won the ball, did a spin, got clear, and then let himself down with an overhit pass to no one, really.
Sure, crossfield ball. Wallen has time to let it bounce to him. That's a good ball in behind for Webb. Can Webb keep it in? He can cross in. Just the important touch. Schroen is still lurking. He can't get that, and maybe the Knights can break quickly in transition. Ball for Albano on the left. He'll keep it in. Men arriving in the middle. Albano, but he can't beat his man as he drove inside. End-to-end stuff, perhaps. Ooh. That one will be a free kick against Wallen. Don't think he can have too many arguments.
That was excellent defending there to stop Albano, because if he beats his defender and gets in, you know, they've only got one up top, but it's another one of those low crosses that they're likely to find.
Here's Wallen brought down Iridakunda to give away this free kick. You can see the Knights seeing it as a goal-scoring opportunity, getting a host of men forward. Although not their tallest timber, you see the likes, well, Aiden Bryce has stayed back. And there's Jack Morton. Just puts it across the field to Giselle, so perhaps something from the training track coming for the Knights. So McCulla's out there on the right, but he's going to get challenged by Jibber and then lose the ball. And now Webb's going to try to feast in transition, but will be turned away from the table by Bryce. Albano goes down under the challenge from Schroen. MCF fans in front of the broadcast position appealing for a yellow card. Was it worth one, Michael?
Well, did he reach in his pocket, or did he just do it to get a spray?
I think he got some spray out.
Yeah, I thought he was going to reach in his pocket there, and I thought it would have been a bit harsh, don't you think?
Well, yeah, all the special comments, it would have been harsh.
Yeah, well, it's a sort of rhetorical question that, you know, I'm inviting a response in the affirmative anyway. Here we go, free kick.
So a host of South bodies on the edge of the area to defend, nowhere near as many Knights. Iridakunda jogs forward to maybe add a bit to the weight of numbers, and well, the fans in the Mike Viduka stand not with the best angle to see that Zelic effort was nowhere near the target.
No, but it was kind of smart play in a way. Everyone was expecting the cross, and he tried something different. Didn't have the direction, but you know, you can see why they got excited. They haven't had that many shots on goal.
That ball out, forces Semakula to just slide through. Again, we see South Melbourne trying to build out from the back. Back three when they have the ball of Jankovic, Almazi and Marshall. And in the middle, Liram Almazi carries it forward, knocks it high and long. Can't find a teammate though. Will eventually wind up in the hands of the Knights. And South do look a much more threatening side when they're able to break in transition rather than have to pass the ball amongst themselves and carry it forward against the low block, don't they?
Yeah, well, so do the Knights. I mean, it's like so much of football these days, you know, teams are kind of quite comfortable without the ball, and then at their most effective when they can hit hard on the break. It's just kind of the modern way in a lot of cases, isn't it?
Schroen with Sawyer down the touchline. Oh, is that a bit of argy-bargy there with some of the Knights defenders, Sawyer? Oh, indeed it is a bit of afters with Aidan Bryce.
There's no need for it, it's just a bit stupid, isn't it? Really. I mean, they're right in front of the referee. Why don't he just walk up and say, here, give me a card?
So what you're saying is they should wait till the referee's not looking?
Well, they shouldn't do it at all, really, should they? But, yeah, if you're going to be smart about it, you make sure you don't get a card if you can help it.
As Wallen sends it all the way back to his keeper, Lopez. Oh, that's not a good clearance from the South custodian. Sends it straight to Albano. Simakula given a task, and once again, Knights with these overhit balls. Ends up giving the ball back to South. Well, South now have to find a way out of this maze of bodies in front of them. Going to do so. Albano content to let it roll out, as it will be his side's throw-in.
I think the Knights would be very, very happy to hang on now to this one goal advantage, get to the interval, which can't be that far away, and regroup in the second half. South, in contrast, will be thinking we've done enough really to at least go in on level terms, even if we haven't been able to quite get that goal.
This is crossed back in by Morton, forced Lopez into action. Was going wide off the target, but who knows who was lurking at the back post, so the Spanish goalkeeper collected it. Best save percentage in the league has Lopez, although, as we've mentioned a few times on this broadcast, hasn't had much chance to show it. For those keeping track at home, Tom Manos in the Knights goal has the fourth best save percentage in the league, has boosted it by a few points tonight. Oi! That's a rough one. Jake Marshall, very enthusiastic with a sliding challenge. Is he in a bit of danger, or?
Yeah, I thought, I thought that might be a card there, but so far the referee hasn't called him over. Could have hurt quite a lot, that. Anyway, it's a free kick. Whatever, and he's going to be in a dangerous position.
It's a bit difficult to call the instigator over when you're immediately surrounded by three Melbourne Knights players. Get a bit distracted.
Yeah, but the ref's had the chance to take punitive action if he so desires, and it doesn't appear as if he has, does it?
Hasn't even been a free kick in the end. It will be a corner instead. That's why the Knights were remonstrating. Whipped in. Lurking there was Sumayori, couldn't get to him. Schroen just boots it forward, Bryce waiting for it. Header goes straight to Benjiba, however. Webb now. Round the corner for Sawyer, needed a good touch to take it round Simakula, didn't get there. Morton now on the left, splays it across the park. But that will be the last action of the first half. A stanza that ends with the hosts, Melbourne Knights, leading South Melbourne 1-0 They've had to fight and scratch and claw to keep it that way, but holding out against South Melbourne. Michael Lynch, what were your biggest takeaways from that opening half?
Well, I'd just say right at the death there, very, very timely interception and good work by Semakula. He'd just been fouled, hadn't he? A minute or so up the other end for that corner. He's got back, and if he doesn't make that challenge, Harrison Sawyer's probably going to go in on goal on his own. I found it quite interesting and entertaining. I don't know about you at home. You're probably certainly a lot warmer than us anyway. But yeah, look, one team's top of the table and one team's mid-table. Isn't that the case? And you can see why in this game. South Melbourne do look like the more fluid and fluent team, and some of their touches have been good, and the way they're trying to craft openings has been good, but they've lacked the cutting edge that's required. And the Knights, they've fought, they've kept it tight enough at the back. Their keeper's actually been in really good form, and the one proper chance they got, they took, and credit for that. It was a good goal. I mean, the central defender Bryce played the ball out wide, and John Albano, he's whipped the cross in, and I'm going to pronounce this lad's name wrong, aren't I? But Mo Sumayoro. Sumayoro. I mean, he's shown bravery to get his head on it, and or his body, and put it in, and that's all you got to do in the end, isn't it? You just got to get your one goal and cling to it if you can. But I think the Knights will need to show more in the second half, and I think if South keep on keeping on, I think a goal will come.
Well, the words of Michael Lynch there, taking us into the half-time break. You'll have the countdown clock for company as we Knocked onwards. Sumayoro gives a bit of chase, and again, Lopez can't quite knock the ball out properly. Big collision there between Morton and Jiba. Sumayoro back to Giselle. Pass across to Albano on the left. Albano cuts inside. Gene Albano shot close down well by Jake Marshall.
Yeah, they're certainly getting on the front foot in this second half, aren't they, the Knights? I think they think if they get second, you know, it's going to be a very hard game for South Melbourne to chase.
He's Webb trying to get onto that long ball, but Aidan Bryce watching it all the way. Strong body prevents him from getting there before it rolls out of bounds for a goal kick.
He's got some nice touches, hasn't he, Chelic, up top? You know, he's not afraid to pick the ball up in crowded areas and drop a shoulder or try a shimmy or just a quick flick, try to create something out of nothing. And that's what you like to see. It's what fans like to see, players trying something.
And again, this time it's the turn of Melbourne Knights to turn the ball over immediately from a goal kick. Jankovic moves it forward to Max Mikela, turns inside, runs into a brick wall in the form of Jake Marth. Celic, and to the left. South immediately retreating into a low block. Knights trying to find a way through. Across to Morton. Morton cuts inside and then a bit of miscommunication. Not sure who was expecting to make the run there because nobody did. It will be South Melbourne's ball, and Sumayoro has gone down here. Didn't appear to be any contact. Referee Lockie Keevers signals to the bench for treatment. Did you see anything that might have resulted in Sumayoro going down, Michael?
No, well, I mean, you know, there's players around him, but I didn't see anything in particular. But we don't have the benefit of big screens or replays, so who knows?
Well,
it's been a much better start to the second half by the Knights, though. I expected South to come out and really put their foot on the ball, knock it about and try and take control and get an early equaliser. But they haven't really looked that threatening in this half so far, have they?
No, it's been a lot of Knights running as Sumayoro comes straight back on. So, let's keep an eye on maybe, but it looks like he's moving pretty freely now, and he's going to need to as Mikela's on the ball on his flank, challenged by Sumayoro. Max Mikela's still going, however. Trying to fight, eventually it's going to fall, and Webb's effort punched away. And El Mazi's bundled over, and South get a free kick.
Yeah, that was excellent work by Mikela, wasn't it? You know, getting past a couple of challenges and setting up that shot. But once again, the Knights goalkeeper Tommy Manos proving equal to the task. You know, he's really been the difference for the home team here tonight.
Here's Monka Schroen now on the ball, all his teammates in front of him. Sent in towards a back post, nodded on. Bryce gets in the way. Benjiba falls to him onto his left peg. Inside, tries to just lay it across, can't find a teammate. Ains, Melbourne Knights will at least ease the pressure just a tad as it goes out for a throw-in.
I think that was that Celic who got that ball clear. I mean, he showed plenty of composure there, didn't panic in his penalty area, took a step, beat a player, made space and made the clearance.
That's a good header from Webb to find Mikela. He's turned around in the box, and the Knights can clear the ball once more, and now you can see 11 men back behind it as Jankovic tries to get things going once more. Sumayoro, Zelic. Morton, high ball across the field for Albano. Unorthodox 1-2 with Giselle. Back to Bryce, and now Bryce is going to be pressed by Sawyer. Sawyer waving the arm, telling his friends to come with him. And forces the long ball from Knights. Marshall heads it back. Zelic has picked the pocket of Pat Langlois. He's clattered over, big coming together. Bit of a car crash in the middle of the park. Webb to Strower. Action a bit frantic, if not pretty and free-flowing. Giselle. Kunda. Ooh, hip and shoulder. Yeah, and subs come in now, but that was a healthy shove.
Well, it was just a bit pointless, really, wasn't it? You know, sort of bring him down like that.
And a Knights official in here at the top of the box early, talking about how he actually begun his career with Melbourne Knights, but I think he's well associated with South Melbourne at this point. Mr. Bradley Norton.
He sounds like that's the sort of name you'd find in a line of duty, wouldn't you? You'd expect some copper to be called Bradley Norton, line of duty or something.
So we work in the old bill, Bradley Norton.
Yeah, well, I think most of our viewers may not even remember the bill.
You should remember the theme tune. Absolute banger with the saxophone.
I know you're thinking of the Sweeney, aren't you?
Oh, whatever it was. It was a banger of a theme tune, whatever the instrument.
Or that epic, The Long Good Friday, which I thoroughly recommend to all our viewers here. Get a chance. The original and the best London gangster movie.
As Bryce heads that one clear. Albano can't retain possession. South come once more, ball over the top. Sawyer, well, he's gone down, and Wales waves it away. Lockie Keevers, I should say, waves it away.
We've only had the one card so far, I think, haven't we? That was Aidan Bryce, you know.
Don't think Harrison Sawyer was getting to that one, even if he wasn't brought down.
Yeah.
Marzi meets the goal kick. Giselle plays it forward. Foot race is on. Wallen gets there before Albano, knocks it clear. Sawyer versus Bryce now. Manos joining in on the fun. Oof. Well, I suppose it is difficult to decelerate if you are a human being the size of Harrison Sawyer.
Well, yeah, but you've got to be aware of positional awareness and the state of the game.
A tad disingenuous with that.
Disingenuous? Oh, not ironic or sardonic then.
As Manos now. Gets us going. Well, I was about to say gets us going. Nothing's getting going with that. Unless he's trying to find the NCF ends in front of the broadcast position. Sliced right off the boot.
I was going to say, it's about 30 years since I tried playing golf, but that's even worse than my slice.
Mikola, ball in his hands. Another long throw in. It's going to fall to the back pad. Langlar tried to just swivel and shoot. Couldn't make contact on it. South have kept going. Wallen's gotten forward, playing it in. Schroen was lurking. Had to be a good defensive header, which there was. Carried forward by Sumayoro before the switch of play. Sent back. Free kick given away there against the newly introduced Andy Brennan. Signs this most recent off-season with South after spending a few years with Hume. Dare say, given that Hume are third bottom of the table, they'd certainly be wishing he was still playing at the Valley Park Centre.
Sort of very staccato this half so far. There hasn't really been much to get excited about. It's probably why we've been trading wordplay. It's made me more entertaining than what's going on out there.
And you can see South trying to raise the energy when they get forward, but they're playing against a nice side, hoping to do the exact opposite of that whenever they get on the ball, because that will suit them to a T. Sawyer trying to get back and win the ball quickly. Giselle Wright his challenge. Seo Marzi, well, nominally the defensive midfielder, he goes on an adventure before getting turned. There's nobody waiting for that long ball forward from the Knights. So just over an hour gone, a few minutes past the hour mark here at Knights Stadium. Score remains 1-0 to the hosts.
It could have ramifications, this for the league table. Well, every game has ramifications
Certainly
for the league table, but, you know, I mean, more resonance than most when it's a top team that looks like it could go down to, wouldn't be a shock loss, but it'd be a bit of a surprise, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, Knights-South games, of course, you always, the cliche is that you throw out the form guide, as we'll watch as this one develops. Serlich, shot blocked away. There was a wall of bodies, both red and blue, in front of him. Oh, indeed. South went a few points clear atop the table after the last round, after the Oakley Cannons dropped 2 points, drawing 1-1 with Eastern Lions. Bottom of the table, Eastern Lions at home. That opened the door for South, but now it appears that South might be turning around and holding the door ajar for the Cannons.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a long way to go in the season. Yeah, 11 games to go, 33 points. You know, so... it's another cliche where cliches are us this evening, aren't they? But you know, so much can happen, and surprise. The one thing I've learned in a lifetime in football is that you think you know what's going to happen, and maybe 80% of the time you're right, but the other 20% blows all the other stuff out of the way because you get it wrong.
Well, I mean,
mathematicians amongst us will follow that one.
One only needs to look at the side of. Well, the former side of Marko Jankovic's father, Milan, Real Madrid, for an example of that. Probably played about 45 good minutes in the Champions League knockout stages and won the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they sort of seem to be touched by fairy dust in the Champions League. But, see, I don't bother watching that much because I haven't got any skin in the game. I haven't got any emotional attachment to any of the teams that have been in it for the last few years. So
we'll stop you there as that log throw in for Sawyer. Got his head on it and put it just wide.
It went close there, didn't it?
But went very close there. Perhaps one could call it one of, well, probably definitely South's best chance of the second half. On that occasion, Manos didn't have it, but was able to watch it slide to the left-hand side of the post.
No, he didn't. He wouldn't have got to that if it was on target, would he? But it wasn't. So fair enough, as you were.
Once again, in praise of long throw-ins, it almost comes up trumps for South Melbourne. This game almost tied.
Well, would you say their two best chances, certainly of this half, have come in that direction?
From the long throw-in, absolutely. That ball will remain with South Melbourne.
There we go, we're going to get another one, aren't we?
There we go. Well, Mikola sucking us all in, but he's found Norton. Norton across the face, headed clear. Bono over the top of his head. Tried to clear. Makula on the second time, he does it. Maybe a bit of added desperation, but not sure he knew where that first challenge came from.
Well, that was good quick thinking though from South Melbourne, the throw. Bradley Norton made the run. Knight switched off, lack of concentration could have cost them very dear. Lucky it didn't.
There we go, and again, the short throw-in routine. I can't believe I just called it a short throw-in routine, but that's the way things have gone this second half. Wallen sends it in, cleared by Zelic. Foot race is on. Sumayoro does enough to win his side the ball.
Talking of Champions Leagues and that, there's been a lot of talks on the National Second Division and the format that's going to be used. We have to hope they don't go down that road here, don't we, in Australia?
Champions League format does not seem to be the preferred model of the commentariat.
No, it certainly will. I don't think it's a preferred model of the clubs either, is it? You know.
Well, big developments on that front with Football Australia CEO James Johnson telling ESPN that detailed financial modelling has been done on a series of models on models as he calls it, and that pending getting the approval to do so from the Football Australia board, the Federation will be taking that financial modelling out to the clubs, the potential participatory clubs and investors, to ascertain what can be achieved by them. So I guess watch this space for later in the month of June. No doubt these two sides will be at the very front of the queue to investigate the feasibility of a national second division, because it doesn't have to just work for a Football Australia, does it? It has to work for the clubs as well. Got to be viable, and these clubs with proud history, they're not going to throw all of that away on a hope and a prayer.
Well, you know, the second division is a concept that's been argued about for 10 or 15 years. I mean, I've long held the view that they should start it. They should, and then increase the A-League from the current number of teams up to 16 by promoting the champions of the second division for 5 years, and then have your relegation and promotion as normal in the rest of the league after that.
So Marzi's attempt to carry the ball forward doesn't come off.
I think a structure like that would give the existing A-League clubs 5 years to get their houses in order, and it would give the newly promoted teams, you know, up to 5 years to get up to speed with the demands of full professionalism in the A-League.
Is that one? Can't be found by a South player. Collected by Manos, indeed. 5 years to get the house in order for the A-League clubs. About a decade and a half already, but I joke. There's that long ball forward. Wallen can't bring it down. And we see South preparing to make another change. Will be an attacking one. Liram Almazi departing and replaced by, well, the Asian Champions League specialist, Jai Ingham.
Remember when he scored in the Asian Champions League for Victoria? I've forgotten who it was against now. But
hence the moniker, the specialist.
But yeah, I mean, he did well. He came out in the NPL, didn't he, and got his child.
Oh, that's a turnover now, and we'll get back to the reminiscing on Jai Ingham's career, brief perhaps. Now Schroen trying to keep things going, but he's closed down by Jack Marth. Fine defending there from Marth, but he's left a hole that Ingham attempted to fill. Instead it's going to go out wide to the right. Mikola twisting one way, then the other, trying to get a ball in. Who wants to claim it? Schroen does for South. Norton. Schroen. Left-footed, ball in. Sawyer's lurking, but Manos. Strong mark to see off the danger.
Yeah, it was kind of regulation take for a keeper, that one. But
He's not the tallest keeper in the world.
No, he doesn't look to be, does he? But if he's got a good leap and good spring, that's help. And he did what he had to do.
Headed straight back by Marshall. Albano had his shirt tugged, not enough to win a free kick.
I think it's been a pretty disappointing second half this from South. Well, as a game, it's actually petered out a bit in this second half. But from South Melbourne, you'd expect a bit more, wouldn't you? I mean, where are we now? 65 minutes in or something?
We are in the 72nd minute of the contest.
There you go, my estimate of time, not great. You'd have expected them to string some more passes together, some threatening moves, play a bit of football. They certainly look capable of it in the first half, but they haven't really displayed any of that in this second period. Now they're facing a free kick in a dangerous position.
Selic standing over it, Moulton coming over to join him. We are seeing maybe perhaps South going for it now, replacing Marze with Ingham. Marzi with Ingham. Andy Brennan out there as well, the fresh attacking legs. Selic and Jake Moulton can potentially put them in a 2-goal hole. Defensive wall lined up for South. 4-player wall. Lopez. Selic on his own. Selic. Oh. Bated breath from the NCF fans in front of us as they watched it go wide.
Yeah, decent effort though. I mean, the keeper didn't have to work, did he? He could just watch it go wide. But probably the most threatening effort on goal from the Knights all second half, isn't it?
Okay, South looking to come again now through Brennan. Attempts to send the low left-footed cross in, headed clear. It will be a corner kick, so a chance for South, who, well, they are bigger than the Knights. In fact, I think they're probably the biggest side in the competition, the combination of Jankovic and Marshall and Sawyer. Schroen, out swinging left-footed corner coming up. You can see the way the wind's blowing there, the flag near him. Comes in, falls, Sawyer. Wide off the goals.
I think you're right there. There is a bit of land of the giants about South Melbourne, isn't there? The Jurassic creatures that roam the park.
Well, they were at one stage called the Lakers.
The Lakers, yeah, LA Lakers basketball.
Yes, that's the.
Yeah, I mean, I remember writing about that in the 90s. That was, I never felt comfortable with that.
I don't think many did. Of course, at the time we had a few clubs. Weren't Sydney United the Pumas or something at that point?
Oh, I don't know. It was during the decade of the period of David Hill, the former ABC boss, who, and New South Wales rails boss, I think. But he was definitely the ABC boss. But he took over at Soccer Australia, as it then was, and yes, sought to bowdlerise the game, the clubs, and the nomenclature. And so you ended up with all these teams adopting nicknames that really were culturally antipathetic, shall we say.
Predecessor to the NCIP, but this probably tells you the way the game's going. So we've just been talking about how South Melbourne have been taking off defensive midfielders for attackers and the like. Well, Melbourne Knights just took off attacker Luka Kolic and replaced him with central defender Fuki Ishibashi. So a bit of an insight into the mindset of the two teams. Ishibashi, the Japanese import, actually signed from Manningham with Knights. Selic wanted to slide a pass in behind for Sumayara, didn't come off.
I was talking him up earlier for his touch, but that was a poor ball, wasn't it? It was a promising situation.
And that pass from Langlar, the former Newcastle Jet. Too heavy for Max Mikola. Mikola, of course, one of a number of Queenslanders running around tonight. The former Football Queensland's Young Player of the Year with Wolves FC. Jankovic across the park to Marshall. Right to Wallen. I see now there's Knights low block to try to break down in front of them, and well, they're not even going to challenge the Knights. Just poor passing, unforced errors.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's been a feature of the second half, the scrappiness of it. But, you know, a club that's top of the table, you'd expect them to have imposed themselves a bit more on this game in this half when they're chasing it, you know. But it's still time, but fair play to the Knights. They're digging in and fighting and scrapping, and, you know, sometimes that's all you got to do.
Just under 15 minutes of regulation remaining out here in sunshine. Almost a coming together there. Langlois got to it just before Albano. Wallen to Brennan on the right. Long ball forward in the direction of Sawyer. Would have been offside, and it is going to come back for offside. So is that potentially, do you think, the South's avenue to goal in these last 13, 12 minutes? Just long balls forward to the big man, dirty long ball.
Well, I don't know if it's dirty. Sometimes it can be an effective tactic. But what I do find interesting is people generally deride it, but nearly every team, probably with the exception of Manchester City or Barcelona in their pomp, but nearly every team in the world, when they're 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go, they put the big lads on up top and stick it in the mixer. If South are 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go, I'd imagine they've got plenty of the big lads out there already, but that's probably the way they'll go.
As we watch now, as South pass the ball amongst themselves, will we see the aerial bombardment resume? It's a Wallen on the right. See the Knights immediately moving to close down the passing angles as South come forward. Norton has come up on the left flank. One slices off his boot as soon as he sends it, and it will be a Knights goal kick. This one looks to be going long, as again everybody gets in a little box in the midfields. Turned onwards by Schroen, knocked down to Langlois. Going to get it all the way out now onto the left flank for Jai Ingham, keeps it in. The New Zealand international, Jai Ingham. Hits it high, hits it long, hits it out. As Noah Knights preparing to make another change. Steve Sokol making his way onto the park, it looks like, and it will be at the expense of Sumayoro, the goal scorer. So a bit more of an attacking change, this one. Sokol, 18 goals in 13 starts with Inglewood United in the NPLWA in 2021. His first time outside of WA this campaign with the Knights. 2 goals on the campaign. Victoria not quite as happy hunting grounds as WA.
No, you'd think the standard's probably a fair bit higher here, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Mind you, they have got amazing names in WA, haven't they? Floria Athena. I mean, makes you think of some sort of exotic species of rose that's just been grafted on a gardening Australia show.
I think they're Greek.
Oh, no, Greek, but you know, they do sound as if they're a flower.
There you go, you can have that nickname for free. Floria Athena.
Well, you know, exotic flora, shall we say.
Oh,
I don't speak.
There's a Red Star out there now who apparently nothing to do with any of the historical versions of Red Star, they just like the name. There's that long throw in again, Manos with the punch, sent back in by Brennan.
But they claim they got nothing to do with Red Star of Belgrade.
I think they just like the name, but now the break is on. But the heavy touch there from Steve Sokol, I'm not sure if he just hasn't got used
to him. You'll say that he hasn't got used to the pace of the game, because He had a great chance there to break through, and his touch left a lot to be desired.
Knights bench furiously remonstrating with fourth official William Samsa. I think they perhaps wanted a foul. Sokol. Not sure if one was there. To the south bench as well, who didn't like things. Indeed, it looks like Esteban Quintes has also received a caution. It's all happening here. Well, everything except goals remains 1-0 to Melbourne Knights as the game ticks into its final stages. First half goal to Sumayoro, the difference. Ball in. You can see perhaps a little bit more desperation from South.
Yeah, but you wonder what the Knights were trying to do there. I mean, the flick on, yeah, but there was absolutely no one in the penalty area to be on the end of a second ball or a flick on. I think if they just try and mount a low block and what they got 5 across the back now in this attack, they're inviting pressure on. I always think it's a recipe for disaster. Unless you're a Jose Mourinho coached into Milan circa 2010.
Or you're in a cup final and you're Jose Mourinho. He never seems to lose those. That one going the way of the Knights. And again, the card comes out, Wallen into the book. Thought it was like a sort of judo throw there, locking of the arm. Maybe Ramos on Mo Salah style, which is why the Knights were so annoyed about it. And, well, Schroen clearing the second ball off the field, maybe a bit more enthusiastically than he needed to. As we said though, like, we did talk in the first half about how Melbourne Knights versus South Melbourne games, they are played with feeling, with a bit of vile and a bit of venom, and we didn't see much of it in the opening stages, but perhaps as frustrations bubble over, a bit more of it sneaking in.
But it hasn't been that sort of game, has it? You know, to raise the temperatures that much.
A few cards. Maybe I'm just being influenced by the vociferous feedback that the MCF fans in front of us are giving the South players at these stoppages.
Yeah, it's been a strangely lacklustre second half by South Melbourne. I expected more.
Giselle has the ball stolen away from him. That pass intended for Ingham. Manos off his line. Sent back by Norton. Sent back by Norton. Brennan knocked off the ball by Rudakunda. Nicol is there as well. Norton. Ingham now. South building. Back to Norton. Cross in. Takes a touch. Manos tried to keep it in. He knew it would be a corner, but he couldn't do so. So South Melbourne with another set piece late on in this contest. Just about 5 minutes of regulation remaining.
They really need to get something out of this because set pieces look to be their best route.
You can see massive bodies in the yard box. Low ball in. Langlaw had to collect it. Ingham sends it back in. Again, knocked away by the Knights. Mikola, does he wind up? Max Mikola! It's in the back of the net! Max Mikola, the hero for South!
Well, we did say set pieces look to be their best route to goal. It was a set piece at the third iteration, really. The ball was cleared once. They set up and played it in again a second time. It was only partially cleared. Did that ball take a deflection on the way through? Anyway, it squirmed its way under Tom Manos, who's been really good all night. Now, South is 1-1. I think they're going to have to just go for it because when you're top of the table, such a tight gap, I don't think they can settle for the draw here. Knights are going to have to reset and really dig in now and try and nick something on the break.
Perhaps the break, Albano coming through, put Wallen under pressure. Well, the circumstances now, South entered the game 2 points clear of the Oakland Cannons atop the table. The gap back up to 3. as long as this result holds. South with the better goal difference, so they will stay top, even if the Cannons win. But we'd love to get another one and keep that gap between first and second more than one game.
You'd have to say that would be pretty unfair on the Knights. I mean, they haven't created a ton of chances, but they've sort of scrapped, punched, fought, you know, gritted it out, got their noses in front, and they've given as good as they got in a very scrappy second half, which, you know, you thought South Melbourne haven't looked like creating something with fluent football, have they?
Oh, here we go, another long throw in. Sawyer nods it on! Oh, heart in mouth stuff for the Knights. I think it was knocked by Bryce Schroen was lurking.
I think we can expect a fair bit of this for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Do the Knights have something? They didn't have anybody waiting for the cross.
Yeah, that's been their problem on the sporadic occasion they've got forward in the second half of this second half. They just had no one anywhere near central enough to get on the end of any of those flicks or second balls.
Lopez finds Jankovic. Pat Langlar in the middle, instantly recognisable thanks to his headband. Switch of play. Brennan. Pass gets slid in there, deflected away by Semakula, but, well, here we go. The lap areas again. Nick D'Agostino areas once again. The long throw in coming to South, and they're looking threatening. Long ball in, big pack form. Sawyer again, heads on wide off the goals.
I told you, last 5 minutes, nearly every team in the world puts the big lads up there and gets it in the mixer.
Indeed. Well, if you want to bake a cake, got to get the mixer involved.
Well, you know,
it's a terrible line. Don't honour that with a response.
What people...
Never mind.
Football, you know, there are many ways to skin a cat. Before the animal activists have a go, that is...
Signing for West Ham or something?
That is a time-worn expression in the
hold
English
on,
language.
we'll cold you through. Ball forward for Sawyer before we get cancelled, if anything else. Charged out by Manos. Maybe something in transition for the Knights. Iridakunda gets cleaned up, but he's worked the ball to Semakula. Now, is this the moment for the Knights? Sokol onto his right boot, sliding challenge, had to be a good one, and it was. Norton, if Norton gets that wrong, the Knights are going to the spot.
Oh, well, could we have another twist in the tail here, you know? Knights stealing something right at the death.
Well, less than 60 seconds of regulation remaining. Looking over at the board of fourth official William Sanson, we're going to get 4 minutes of extras. Well, but nobody there for the Knights. Comfortable collection, ball knocked forward now. Iridakunda can't get there. He has to fight with Mikola, the goal scorer for South Melbourne. Will be a South ball. Norton calming everybody down. I think Mr. South Melbourne realises.
Here come the cavalry. It's another long throw, isn't it?
Blow the trumpets. Here comes the Light Brigade. Ball in. Knights get there first. Norton tries to loop it up high. Bounces off the head of Sawyer. Not sure how much he knew about it. Norton has come all the way across to the right, looking for Brennan. Goes down. Free kick.
Yes, well, the Light Brigade, fearsome as they are, perhaps the Knights' defence isn't really the valley of death, though, is it? Into which the Light Brigade charge.
Yes, in the right they are. As now, South interrupt our literary lesson with a free kick. Schroen. He certainly, as we've mentioned, the land of the Giants, has tall teammates to target. Do we have a dramatic finish coming up at Knight Stadium? Low along the grounds into the side netting.
Fans, isn't it?
1 minute of extra time of the 4 allotted in the books. 2 and a bit now remains. Score remains. Melbourne Knights 1, South Melbourne 1. Sent back in, bounces over the first challenge. Bryce gets there before Mikola. Sawyer collects. Brennan now on the right, looking for an angle in. Charge down. And Semakula steals the ball away, but Norton not giving up. Not Norton. Brennan not giving up on it. Semakula on the left. Knights getting a few bodies forward. Pass through. It's a real task for Albano, but he's going to get there. Round 1, Albano can't keep it in. The flag of assistant Daniel Martinez goes up, and it will be a goal kick. 2 minutes of the extras now in the books.